You're listening to the Couch Friends podcast with Crystal, Jenna, and Christy.
Welcome back to the Couch Friends. We've entered the holiday season. And also, Gianna's birthday has come and gone. She's now officially 40. And we just want to check in with you and see how you're really doing.
I am now 40, and I've had, about 6 days of being 40? I mean, I did wake up the morning of my birthday. Crystal told me that on her 40th birthday, she woke up with dry eyes. So, of course, me, the anxious person that I am, went to bed that night thinking, oh boy, I better get the eye drops next to my nightstand because I might have dry eyes.
Really?
Yes!
I'm sorry.
I was like, this is going to be bad. I'm not going to be able to do it. So I'm going to need my eye drops.
Oh, that's
Crystal
so
said,
funny.
and Crystal's a little bit older than me, so I was really, I was nervous. So my alarm went off around 6:30 the next morning. I woke up and I was like, I think we're good. I think we're good.
Everything's in working order.
Everything was good. I had no dry eyes. I feel like I might have had a few more snap crackle pops than I was used to on 39. But everything was good. And just another day. Now I'm just 40. So yeah, it's been a good week.
Yay.
Good.
I feel so sad that I gave you anxiety.
Well, it doesn't take much, Crystal. You know that, right? And then my brother had texted me, and he's like, get ready for your first pair of readers. And I'm like, I know.
And nothing in that. That's
Nope.
not an issue either. Right?
Nope,
Yeah.
not an issue so far. So, yeah, rocking my first week in my 40s, and
It's not bad, right?
I've joined the
It's
club.
just like 39.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So today, our topic is gratitude. So speaking of gratitude, I'm grateful you're 40. I know when we were talking about it in our last episode, there was a lot of maybe apprehension and fearfulness surrounding it. But now 6 days in, I hope maybe you're feeling a little bit of gratefulness.
Yes.
For being 40.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're just going to talk about gratitude in general. I think, this time of year, there's always a lot of like little social media challenges that are going around, like list one thing you're grateful for every day. And I see a lot of people will start to do like November's like the month of, thankfulness or whatnot. So I wanted to ask you guys, do you feel like you're kind of a naturally grateful person, that it just oozes from you? Or do you find it a little bit harder in your daily life to think about things that you're grateful for?
It's definitely not natural for me. I try to be conscious of it and do it, but I'm really more of a worst case scenario kind of thinker. So I have to be intentional, definitely. About it, depending on the season. Sometimes there's a lot of things to be grateful for naturally, just they're just overflowing, and then other times it may seem very little to be grateful for. So it really depends on the season too, I think.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. How about you, Jana?
Yeah, I think for me the same. It depends on, I guess, what I'm going through. I do think it is kind of the season or whatever I'm dealing with, but it is kind of a setting too. Like if I'm at church, sometimes I have more time. It's quiet. You're listening. You have more time to reflect on those things. Maybe it's a song that touches me that I'm like, oh, because the words in the song touch me and it makes me think. Or if I'm saying a prayer, like obviously, you kind of try to think about what you're grateful for then. And, but I also, it's definitely not my wake up and, oh, I'm so grateful for this. It's going to be a wonderful day. I'm so grateful. No. I wish that probably is a great attitude to have. And so maybe that's a goal that, it could work towards, but it's definitely not how I currently run my life. But I think when it's different seasons, different times, I definitely reflect and then realize everything that I have and am I grateful for, and then you
Yeah.
can really see the difference, and it changes your outlook.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. What
So,
about you?
Yeah, for me, I think I'm along the lines with you guys, that I feel like I hope people out in the world who know me and hear this, like, you can tell me if this is not accurate, but I feel for the most part like I have a pretty positive outlook. But I do find if I'm experiencing multiple hard things at one time, or things aren't going as well as I want them to go, so like if my expectations aren't being met, or just in general, just like life is just, there's like a high anxiety moment, I won't naturally grasp
Yeah.
gratitude.
Yes.
I won't be
Yeah.
like, oh wait, let me stop and think about all the things that are great about this situation right now.
Does anybody really
I
do
know.
I know.
So it's I would say definitely my grumbliness is probably anxiety driven, or feeling in the moment overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I would say I do try to, especially if I hear other grumbly people in my house.
Yeah.
I'm always like, oh, but look on the bright side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
have this and this and this. So I feel like I'm the spewer
That's
of
good.
gratitude, but I think
Yeah.
I do that because I want to stay positive. I don't want to be
Yeah.
negative.
Yep.
But for myself, it's a little bit harder for me to say to myself, oh, but look on the positive
yeah.
side. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think definitely gratitude is, you have to be intentional about
And
it.
I think that, like you were talking about kind of in your family, but I feel like that can be the same, if you're talking with a friend or you're talking with a family member, wherever, that, they're talking about their troubles or their hardship that they're going through. But then you're on the outside and you're saying, but look what all you do have, or look what all has gone right, or whatever the situation is, the positive.
Yeah.
So how do we change it so that we're the person
Mm-hmm.
that when we're going through this says, stop, let's think about the positive to myself, right? And then having it be someone else. I don't know. That's kind of a thought.
No, that's like a really great
I think it's just
question.
hard when you're in a difficult situation. Your mind is not thinking clearly about everything. You're kind of all consumed, depending on how severe of a situation you're in. I don't know. Maybe that's why we have people surrounding us.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that they're there for, is to kind of remind us that, hey, I know that you can't really see this right now because you're like in it.
Yeah.
But just remember, like, these are all the things that you do have.
Oh, I love that.
And it kind of brings you back and regroups, and you're like, okay, you're right. Even though this problem or this issue is still really hard, I'm thankful I do have this,
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that would be really stinky if I didn't have that, or whatever, whatever it is.
Absolutely. I think a lot of times too in our lives, I feel like there's another episode we've already talked a little bit about comparison. But it is really so easy to, look at somebody else's life, and it doesn't matter that they're in a completely different part of their life than maybe we're at in the moment. But to just really tend towards the negative, like, oh, that's not going well for me right now. Will it ever go well for me? So yeah, I do think, we need people in our lives that do remind us it is going well. Let's talk about what's going well. Let's look at it. And you know what? If it's not going as well as you want it to, that's okay. It's okay to say it and to be like, these are the things I'm disappointed about, but not to stay lingering on it.
Right.
I just had a thought too. Tell me if you guys agree with this or you've ever experienced this, but so say you're in one of those situations and you've had someone tell you, but look at this, look at all these things that are going right, or that you do have. It kind of makes you step back, and it kind of carries you through that moment or through that time period. Or sometimes it is just the moment, because then you finish talking to them and you're back to mad or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Because we're
Yeah.
human, and that happens. But I think sometimes you're like, that makes you stop crying, or that makes you, kind of come to your senses at the moment. So that's happened to me. And I'm like, okay,
Definitely.
they're right. but this still stinks. And that's okay to feel that way.
Yeah. And maybe sometimes too, there's something that doesn't feel good to you and it doesn't feel like something to be grateful for, but with the perspective of somebody from the outside really showing you, like, actually look at how this, whatever this thing is, look at how there is good around it or in it or, you know, something about it.
That reminds me of a question I want to ask. Have you ever been through a situation that at the time you were like, ooh, I am not grateful for this at all? But you've had the perspective or the time.
I don't
to
think
be
we
able...
have enough time.
1 billion things.
Yeah. But maybe you've had the distance and the timing to have passed through that ungratefulness. And then now you can look back and be like, I'm really glad that I had to go through that, because now I can see, you know, the benefit of it.
Yeah, it is true, because things can feel completely hopeless when you're in it. And then when you are past it or on the other side of it, or even maybe really far removed from it, you can kind of see how maybe the good things that came from it, the good things that,
the why
that
why
had to
it
happen.
happened.
Like, we don't always know why.
Mm-hmm.
We don't always get those answers, but sometimes we do. And sometimes you can see the why this had to happen. Oh, okay. Well, this and this and this would never have happened if this hadn't happened. Without going into too much detail, because I don't know, I might share more later at a later date about what exactly happened. But at the beginning of my divorce, there was a monumental event. I'll just put it like that. There was a monumental event that really set off a chain of reaction of some pretty horrible things that happened, which put me into like the middle of a very contentious divorce that I never intended to have. And I remember at the beginning of the process, my lawyers telling me that if things hadn't happened the way that they happened, you would have gotten a divorce. There would have been 50-50 custody, and that would have been it. For reasons I won't get into at this time, 50-50 custody would not have been in the best interest of my children. And because of the way that it happened, there was a series of events that unfolded beyond my control that really protected my children in ways that I never could have if I had just filed for divorce like I was going to, and we had just had like a normal divorce. I don't know if that makes sense, because I'm not really saying much.
It makes sense.
But I mean, just that alone is worth everything. That my kids are okay and that my kids are with me full time and that they are safe.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. It's not easy. And I know that when you're going through a series of horrible things, that I could say probably anybody who's watching this has been through maybe their own series or of hard things. And you could get to a point where you're like, nothing is going to be good. Yeah. It's not going to get better. Yeah. It's just going to keep getting more terrible. So I think we can stop and say to ourselves, no, I can look for what's good right now, but also know that, like you said, these circumstances were beyond your control, whether you're a spiritual person or not. I'm a spiritual person. And so for me, I know that there's a God who is in control of even the very horrible things, and he's working for good. And it's hard sometimes to see the good, but there is good there. I think I just messaged somebody the other day that, you know, like, yeah, it looks bad right now. It does look bad, but I was like, but we can't see. We don't know what's in the future. We don't know how all the things that are happening right now. Like, if things worked out exactly how we wanted them right now, like, how terrible would it honestly be in the future for us?
Yeah.
Because we don't know. We can't see what good is coming down the road, and it's really hard.
And Christy, I was thinking when you were telling your story, during that time, whatever the time period was, you probably weren't reflecting on the positive
No,
right?
there wasn't anything positive.
There wasn't anything positive. And so it took years
Right.
before you realized what in that you were grateful for.
Right.
And I think that's really important to remember, because the timing in things like that is not always what we want it to be,
No.
right?
Rarely.
Rarely ever. And so that can make being grateful even harder sometimes, right? Because it's not on your time.
Yeah.
And as you said, I
Yeah.
mean, whether you're a spiritual person or not, I am. And, you know, I believe that it is in God's timing. And sometimes that's a really hard lesson to, or hard pill to swallow, I guess, if that's,
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I was just thinking, when you were telling your story, it's like, okay, during that time period, which was a long time period, were you sitting there every day saying all that you were grateful for?
No, I didn't feel
right?
like I had anything to be
Exactly.
grateful for at the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then later, it's kind of come to
Right.
where you're able to realize that. And so I just think that's important to remember, as we all,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like I said, we might not bounce out of bed and everything's just, we're just grateful every day, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can be, but I think sometimes during the hard times, you have to really just go forward, and then you see kind of the light at the end of the tunnel, as they say.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. And the verse, like, God works all things for good.
Yes.
Everybody has a thing, right? That is something that probably doesn't look like something you should be grateful for.
Mm-hmm.
But if God works all things for good, that means not some things, not,
Mhm.
you know,
99%.
right.
All.
All.
Yeah.
Even things that we don't think are good,
Mm-hmm.
he still works for our good,
Yeah.
for our good. And it might not be what we want. We might not know what that good is.
Mhm.
I think that's the hard part too, is knowing that you might never really know why something had to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's great when we get clarification and answers, but then when you don't ever really know, like, you might not ever know why
Yeah.
did something have to
Mhm.
happen.
And that's okay
Mm-hmm.
that we never know.
Right. And I think it's just trusting.
Yeah.
If you
Mhm.
do have a faith in God and you do trust him, that he means what he says when he says that.
Yeah.
It's just trust. That's what faith is. You
Yeah.
don't have all the answers. You don't see everything, but you trust no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
When you were talking about what you were saying, I was thinking about I think it's a Corrie ten Boom
Mm-hmm.
poem about the tapestry, and like a visual of how, if you look at a tapestry, if you look underneath,
Okay.
and there's all like the mess,
Mm-hmm.
and it's because it's knots, and it's like, it's just a mess underneath it.
Yeah.
And then you turn it over, and then you see the completed masterpiece.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like what God does with us. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we are underneath, just we're a mess.
Mhm.
And he's working that mess into the flip side, like the
Yeah.
masterpiece.
Yeah.
It just made me think of that.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you said that, because I haven't heard that analogy in quite some time.
Yeah,
And I didn't know that was from Corrie ten Boom.
I think it is.
So-
I'll have to fact check myself,
Yeah.
but I think it is.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is, when we're going through a tough season or even a tough day, it's hard to stop in the moment
Mm-hmm.
to feel grateful or to practice gratitude.
It can be. Yeah, it can
Yeah.
be.
Right. So let's talk about some ways that we can encourage each other, encourage you guys to make it more of a practice, like a daily thing where we can stop ourselves and practice gratitude. Like, what might that look like for you? Let's
Mhm.
say you were in a minute of like
Yeah.
something's not going right. I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling all of the negative emotions. I feel like I need to vent and like, whoa.
Yeah.
What are some things we can do instead?
You know, I just recently, last week, I don't know who it was. It was one of those mindless Instagram scrollings, you know, that happens. But it did catch my eye, and because he was talking about tips for when you are feeling anxious or panicking. He talked about breathe in 3 times quickly. So, and then exhale. So breathe in 3 times quickly and then exhale. And it kind of helps reset your brain, and you can kind of get out of that funk that you're in right then. or it can calm you. It can calm you. And I was like, that's really good. I need to remember that.
Yeah, I'm gonna remember that.
Next time I'm like stuck in an elevator, I'm gonna remember that.
Yeah. I'm even thinking as you're going, is just thinking to yourself, thank you for this breath.
Yes.
Thank you that I'm breathing right now.
Yeah.
You know, just the gratefulness of my air, my lungs are taking in air.
Yeah.
Just the simple act of like, I didn't even have to, well, I guess you intentionally are taking those breaths, but for the most part, we're not even thinking about breathing. We take it for granted.
I know.
That's so true. That's so true. And maybe that's why it's so hard sometimes to find things to be grateful for. Because I know for me, if I don't have something big to be grateful for, or like something that, I don't know, I think should happen, or I think I should have, or, you know, it's easy to get stuck in that, well, there's really not anything to be grateful for. But I mean, come on, like just the fact that you got out of bed in the morning, the fact that you are healthy, the fact that you can breathe with, you know, you have lung in your air.
Air in your lungs.
Just the fact that you have lung in your air is like,
folks, she means air in your lungs. That's what she means today.
That's what I meant. Yeah, thank you. There are so many simple things to be grateful for, no matter what.
Yeah. Something else that someone I follow, which some of you may follow her as well, and every morning she gets on and she puts a little box on there as well, but she'll get up and she'll say, you know, good morning. And then she says that happiness begins with gratitude. Today I am grateful for, and then she gives something she's grateful for, right? And then she'll say, what are you grateful for today? And it just is, that's the first thing you hear from her. And some days I'm like, nothing, not grateful for anything today, because I might be in a bad mood or I don't know. But then some days it really does make me think. I'm like, well, what am I grateful for today? And it kind of varies. Oh, I'm grateful for my kids today. I'm grateful. But then sometimes I'm like, no, what are you grateful for? You know, it makes you think. And then it does make me happy when I think about those things. So like I said, she's been doing that for years, and I just love that. I think it's a great thing to start your day off with. Yeah. Is starting your day off with one thing or two things that you're grateful for.
Yeah.
Can you give us an example of like something she said recently? Like,
I mean, often it's like, you know, she's grateful for, she'll like name one of her children. One day it was like, I'm grateful for fresh air, because she was on a walk when she did it. And I'm like, yeah, fresh air is good. You know, but she'll say simple things. It can be random. You got family, fresh air. She'll say, I'm thankful for squirrels, or just anything. Or I think the other day, you know, she talked about thankful for the right to vote. Yeah. You know, because she had just gone to early vote. And so I thought, yeah, that's something to be grateful for. Yeah. You know, so she really thinks about it. Her big like tagline is happiness begins with gratitude.
Starting the morning with something like that, I think makes a big difference. I used to, there was a short period of time where I had like a journal, and I think it was like a 5-minute, it was called like the 5-minute journal or something like that, where you just wrote like a little snippet and then you wrote things that you were grateful for. But if you write down like maybe 3 things you're grateful for every morning when you wake up, you know, maybe while you're eating breakfast or having like a quiet time or something. And then not only does that help you start your day in a state of gratitude, but then when times are really hard and you feel like you don't have something to be grateful for, you can go back to that, to however many pages you have written down, and you can see all the things
that's really
that
good.
you have to be grateful for. And it's a good reminder.
Yeah. Yep. I think there's that Ann Voskamp also wrote a book several years ago called 1000 Gifts.
Oh yeah.
And that is the whole premise of the book, is to journal the gifts or the gratitude that you see in just your everyday life. It could be any small little thing. And then to keep track of it and see if you can get to 1,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Imagine to have 1,000 things that you know you can be grateful for.
Yeah.
That's really
That's
cool.
amazing.
Yeah.
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 I love that.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. I'm not a big journaler, but it makes me want to get kind of back into it, because I did actually keep a gratitude journal several years ago when my boys were smaller and parenting was a challenge.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
I need something to just
Yeah.
keep my mind positive and
Yeah.
stuff. And so I did journal for a while. Now I'm like, I'm going to go back and find it and see if I
Yeah.
can see how far I got.
Right.
But it's a really, she wrote a really great book on it. I love her writing. So let's talk a quick second about gratitude and mental health. As you guys were talking, I was thinking, because I was listening to you guys talk, and I almost said right in the middle of the conversation that when we stop and we intentionally focus on gratitude, do you feel like a mind shift, like a physical, like in your mind, going kind of like flipping from this like to like just a
Yeah.
more of like a peaceful
That's what I'm saying. It's like
state,
calming.
a calming state. Yeah. I mean, I'm not talking about like some crazy weird feeling or
Right.
anything,
No.
but it just for me,
Right.
it feels like you can almost feel your mood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because you're shifting your
Shift.
focus
Yeah.
on what you're focusing on.
Yeah. So I do think, gratitude can have a huge
Yeah.
benefit on mental health. I'm a nerd, so there's a ton of videos on how gratitude can positively help with anxiety and depression. But one of the main reasons it can is, this is so cool. When you practice gratitude, hi, Duke. I'm so thankful you're here. Pay attention to me.
Duke says, "Are you grateful for me?"
Yes.
Yeah.
We are, Duke. So
Gives me that
grateful.
regal, serious face. Like, all right, I am going to put you all four on the floor. So when you do practice gratitude, just the simple act of thinking of things to be grateful for produces dopamine
That's cool.
or releases dopamine in your brain. And I feel like dopamine is becoming kind of like a more popular word because, it can have positive effects, but if you kind of, the only word I'm thinking in my head is overuse it, but you don't like overuse it.
So, yeah.
But your body can kind of get confused on when and how to use it and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of times addiction or like substance abuse can start because the brain is looking for dopamine.
Yeah.
A lot of times you can associate anxiety and depression with a lack of serotonin or dopamine. So to know that just the simple act of stopping and saying, I'm thankful today for this and this and this, and to know that gives you like a positive dopamine release, a positive reward, like
That
a
is cool.
healthy, you didn't have to play a video game or scroll through your social
Yeah.
media.
A healthy
or,
way to get it.
Drink a glass of wine or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just a simple thing that you can do right inside yourself. You don't need anything. And it gives you that. I feel like that's why there's a flip. Like you go from just kind of being more like anxious and moody to like, okay, I'm going to be okay.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So
The mind is just
I don't know, you sciencey people though, you can tell
cool.
me if I'm right or wrong. Like, let me know.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes sense to me.
So let's talk about a couple things we're grateful for right now. I was thinking it might be fun to kind of do a little round robin.
Yeah.
How about think of something you're physically grateful for? So by physically, I just mean like your grass is growing well or like it rained today or something like that. I don't know. And then something maybe, since we all have families, let's make one family oriented. And then the third one can be your choice, or if you want to make it work related or whatever area of your life, something else that you are like, I need to practice gratitude. It can be that.
Okay.
So anybody want to start?
When you said about it can be anything like about your grass being green, I literally thought, yes, I am thankful for that, because the company that comes around and, like not maintains our lawn, but, sprays for the weeds and stuff like that on our lawn. He knocked on our door the other day and he's like, your grass is like dead. You need to water it. And so we've been trying really hard over the last 3 days to water the lawn, and it is green now. It was brown and now it's green. And I'm like, see, I'm thankful for the rain that we've gotten a little bit of rain
A little bit.
and my sprinkler system that helped water my lawn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, it is something to be thankful
It
for.
absolutely is.
It's silly, but
No, not at all.
I'm thankful to have green grass again. because
Remember?
it was looking bad.
It's the simple things.
That's
We
it.
want to be thankful for even the simple things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it definitely, it sounds weird, but it made me, I didn't like having the only house on the street with dead grass and everybody else's was green. And I'm like, ours looks terrible. Now it looks really good. You know,
Yeah.
Yay.
That makes you happy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. My physical, I'm thankful that I have a car.
Yay.
It's temporary.
Mhm.
The car I had is not worth fixing. So someone was kind enough that I know to borrow me an extra car that they have so I can resume normal life and I can take my kids to school and we can go to the grocery store and all that good stuff. So
Yeah.
until you don't have a car, you realize just how much you actually rely on it.
Right.
Mhm.
So I'm grateful for that.
Yeah. I'm grateful too.
Yeah.
So it was such a wonderful blessing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am grateful that the temperatures are dropping slightly here. And so it's just more pleasant now to be
Yes.
outside,
Mm-hmm.
even in the daytime.
Mm-hmm.
It's still warm, but it's just not as like humid.
Yeah.
It's a little more breezy.
Yep.
It's just
So,
perfect almost.
yeah.
It could just be a little bit cooler.
Yeah, like a little bit more.
but it's
But by
almost
like
perfect.
6, 7 o'clock,
Mhm.
it feels
It's
really
perfect.
good.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
just so
Yeah.
nice now to like
Yeah.
enjoy being outside.
Mhm.
I agree.
That fresh air.
Mm-hmm.
Thankful
Yep.
for it.
All the time I am. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right. How about something you're thankful for your family today? I'm going to go because I'm thankful and a little teary that my oldest voted for the first time ever.
That
Oh.
is exciting.
I'm like, oh goodness.
Wow.
And he was like so serious about it. He's like, when am I going to find time to do this? I'm not sure.
Aw.
Like, will I make it? Do I need to drive home? Like, he was very serious. I was like, well, just
Yeah.
look it up and see where you need to go.
Mhm.
And he did all the research and he was like, oh, I can go like right on campus and I can do this. And because it's early,
Fantastic.
it doesn't, blah, blah, blah. And he called me and he's like, I voted. I'm like,
Aw.
Oh my god! Such a proud moment,
Yeah,
right?
it is.
Such
It's
a proud
just-
mom moment.
it's just like,
yeah.
I did last night just have to stop. And, sometimes like the emotion, like it'll just be like a little tiny emotion.
Mhm.
And I'll tend to just be like, oh, I'm not going to deal with that right now. But I
Yeah.
was like, no, stop for a second and just be like,
Just let yourself feel it.
Yeah.
because it's like he's
Yeah.
an adult,
Yeah.
like, and he's like a little responsible adult.
Yeah. You raised a human being who is contributing to society.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's so
And I
cool.
just
And you're like, I did
felt
that.
that.
You did that.
I just felt
Yeah.
that little emotion. Like it was like a different
Yes.
connection with him.
yeah.
I was like, okay, like we're doing this life and world and
Mm-hmm.
right,
citizenship and all that kind of stuff, like
right.
together.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
I am grateful for, all of my kids, but particularly this past week, my daughter had a birthday. And I'm just very grateful for her and for her life. And I just love watching my kids grow up. I kind of always hate when people say like, oh, I just don't grow up. Don't grow up. Just stay little. I understand what they mean. But then I'm just kind of inside, I'm like, but that's what you want. Like, you want them to grow up. And, like, the alternative is not good. So, like, I feel very grateful that just every day, every year that I have them.
Yeah.
Because I love watching them grow up. And she's 10.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for her birthday and for, the day she was born. I never
Yeah.
thought I would have a little girl.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
me neither.
yeah.
I think I go to my kids as well, just to have my children, and I'm thankful for their work ethic, both of them. I am a believer in having them work hard for what they get, and I've been proud of them recently in their work ethic, especially in their sports. And so just seeing them grow and see their hard work pay off has been very rewarding, and it makes me very
Yeah.
thankful. Thankful for them and for their drive for that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And fun as a mom to get
Yeah.
to watch them excel.
And thankful that they're healthy, they have healthy bodies to do that.
Yeah.
I know that is a blessing to be able to have that. So, I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, we got one more round, and that is just something you're thankful for in your work or anything else. If you don't want to be thankful for your work,
We are thankful.
you can
for
be
our
thankful
jobs.
for just anything else.
I'm gonna have to say something now because people at work watch this apparently.
Mine too. I should tell them. I'm thankful for. No. You said just kind of anything in general. I think I'm thankful for, and I don't. This isn't to be cheesy or anything, but I truly am thankful for friendships, and I'm thankful for y'all's friendship and for the years that we've had to get to know each other, and the talks, and we can just be real because it's hard to find real friends and friends that you can just be yourself with.
Yeah.
And I think that's something to be grateful for, and I am grateful for it. I'm grateful for many friendships that I have that are just true friends that I lean on. They help me, and yeah, thankful for them.
I'm going to piggyback on that, and I'm also going to kind of connect it to what I said at the beginning about something good coming from things. I'm going to say also that I am thankful for friendships and for you guys particularly, and then also, Kelly and Marjorie, and I just feel like so many people that I have gotten to know over the last 3.5 years, since my life kind of got flipped upside down. If things hadn't happened the way they happened, I don't think I would probably know you.
You wouldn't know me.
I don't think I would know Kelly. I don't think I would know Marjorie. I would know Crystal.
Yep.
But that would probably be it.
Yep.
And so it's been like a huge blessing. Like something good that has come from it. And I love that, like, I don't know, we've just like have such a supportive, amazing group of people. And like, honestly, I couldn't have gone through everything I've gone through without you guys.
Yeah. I was thinking when you were talking earlier as well, that you were like, there was nothing to be thankful for. There was nothing to be thankful for. And then I was sitting here like, but that was the summer our kids loved.
Yes.
The best summer.
They loved it. It moved you closer to us.
Yep.
Our kids bonded.
Remember our park nights?
We all bonded. We were just all out together all the time.
Yep.
And so there's always good, you know? And I think, like, seriously, I think my daughter will always say to me, Mom, can we have another summer like that? That was the best summer ever.
So good.
Yeah.
It was so good for my kids too.
Yeah.
Because they were going through. I can't talk when I cry.
Yeah.
It was so good for my kids too, because they were going through everything while I was going through it. And it was such a huge blessing for them too, to have new friends and such good friends, you know, consistent friends that they had had, and then new friends that came into their life because of that. That was an amazing summer.
I think that was kind
them.
of our foundation for us as our friendship, you know, because I had just moved here. I hadn't been here the longest, and that was kind of our foundation. And then our kids got along so well, and then we started hanging out, and then we started going to dinners, and then we started celebrating birthdays together. And then this is with Kelly and Marjorie as well. And we don't see each other every day. We're all busy, right? We do our things, but when we go out, you think we've been friends forever.
Yeah. And we always make a point, like, we got to plan our next dinner, our next our next night out. I don't know. I just love having a group of
And you're right. Had what happened years ago to you not happened the way it did, you would not know me.
No.
You would not know me.
No.
Because I wouldn't. I mean, we don't, you know.
Yeah. I wouldn't have walked to school with my kids. I wouldn't, we wouldn't walk around the park, you know, like our kids wouldn't have all gotten to know each other. I mean, like, you know, like yours and Marjorie's and everybody. Yeah.
Well, I'm abandoning work. Which is so fine. I work for myself, so whatever. And I'm going to also go on the friendship thing. This is way more lighthearted, but last weekend I sliced my pinky.
Oh,
Look
And
at
it
how
looks
much
so much
better it's
better.
doing, you guys.
It looks so much better.
Well, you can't see. But just know last weekend I sliced it.
It was split open.
It was split.
did you have to
and-
get stitches?
No.
No.
Because my friend Christy here came to call. I called my mom first. I was like, Mom, can you get here? And she's like, no. I'm at the car dealership. I was like, okay. Then I called your mom.
Yeah, she's a nurse.
I was like, I'm
Yeah.
calling Nurse Delreen.
Yep.
And she was also unavailable.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, let me see if Christy can come over. And so I called her and she's like, I'll be there. And she totally helped me. Like, I mean, it was like, I was just holding it together.
Yeah. We made an
Like-
executive decision together that
Yeah.
stitches were not necessary.
Yeah. So she helped me bandage it because I could not do it on my own. It was so painful. And
Yeah.
like, I probably
Yeah.
called her 3 times that day. Like, what do you think now? What do you think now? So I just was so thankful
Aw.
that she was available and also just like, I'll be right there. No problem. Blood.
As long as it's not barf, I'm good. Blood I can handle.
So my pinky is intact. It's almost healed.
Good.
Good. But yeah. I
No
was thankful.
bandage.
No
anymore.
bandage today.
It looks
That's
good.
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
It looks good.
Might have a
So,
little scar, you think?
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I can still definitely
Yeah,
see
you
it.
can see.
Yeah.
That was a
like-
deep one.
Yeah.
That was a deep one. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, but I'm very thankful that she came to the rescue.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
thankful that you called me. I love to be
Aw.
called for things like that. That makes me feel good. So it makes me feel good to be able to help you and
Yeah.
that you would call me for help. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's just a little bit about gratitude. We'd love for you to chime in the comment section. Let us know if you have like a special way that you like to track gratitude in your life, or maybe there's just something in your life that you're especially thankful for that you'd love to share. We'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
It would be kind of fun to do a little follow-up in the beginning of our next episode, maybe,
sure.
where we could just share some of the things that you guys say, maybe some really cool little tips that you guys
I
have.
love that idea.
Maybe you can look out for Cooper on the reels and tell him what
Yes.
you're thankful for.
Yeah, we'll definitely do a Cooper wants to know.
Cooper
for
wants
that.
to know what you're
What are you
thankful
thankful for? Cooper wants to know a lot of
He
things.
said, I'm waiting.
He's the cutest. We're all thankful for Cooper.
We are.
He is the honorary 4th host.
He
Who
said
doesn't
one,
say anything.
one day they'll get me a mic.
All right, friends. We will see you next time right here on the couch. Bye.
Bye.